Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're diving deep into something that affects pretty much all of us at some point. Stress. It's a part of life, right? But how do you know if it's gone from a little pressure to something more serious? We're going to break down 20 signs that you might be experiencing too much stress. From headaches to sleep problems, digestive woes to mood swings, we're covering it all so you can tune into your body and figure out what's up. Remember, I'm not just some guy on the internet, I'm a doctor. But this video is for informational purposes only, and it's not a substitute for seeing your own healthcare provider. If you find this video helpful, please like, share, give a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get started. Let's start with a common one. Headaches. Ever notice how when things get crazy busy or you're super stressed, you end up with a pounding head? That's no coincidence. Stress is a major trigger for tension headaches, those tight bands of pain that feel like your head is in a vice. And for some people, stress can even be a migraine trigger. Migraines are way more intense than tension headaches, often with throbbing pain, nausea, and sensitivity to light and sound. Not fun. So if you're constantly reaching for the pain relievers because of headaches, it might be time to take a closer look at your stress levels. And hey, I get it, sometimes life throws a lot at you. But if those headaches are becoming a regular thing, it's worth talking to your doctor. Okay, tell me if this sounds familiar. You're lying in bed, it's way past your bedtime, but your mind is racing with to-do lists, worries, and what you should have said in that meeting earlier. Sound about right? Stress and sleep have this love-hate relationship where they can't stand each other, but they can't seem to break up. When you're stressed, your body pumps out hormones like cortisol, and while cortisol is super important for some things, like waking you up in the morning, having too much of it at night can make it really hard to fall asleep and stay asleep. And guess what? Not getting enough sleep messes with your stress levels even more. It's a vicious cycle. Ever notice how you seem to get sick at the worst possible time, like right before a big presentation or when you're already swamped? That's because stress weakens your immune system. Remember cortisol, that stress hormone we talked about? Well, in high amounts, it can suppress your immune cells, making you more susceptible to those pesky viruses and bacteria that are always lurking around. So if you're feeling run down and catching every cold that goes around, it might be a sign that your stress levels are through the roof and your body is trying to tell you to slow down. Listen to your body, folks. Let's talk about the gut-brain connection because yes, your gut actually has a brain of its own. And guess what? Stress loves to mess with it. When you're stressed, that fight or flight response kicks in, and your body diverts blood flow away from your digestive system and towards your muscles and heart. This can lead to all sorts of digestive issues like stomach aches, bloating, constipation, or even diarrhea. And to make matters worse, stress can also change the composition of the bacteria in your gut, which can further contribute to digestive problems. So, if you're constantly dealing with stomach issues, stress might be the culprit lurking behind the scenes. Have you ever noticed that when you're stressed, your shoulders are up by your ears, your jaw is clenched, or your back feels like it's tied in knots? That's because stress can manifest physically in your muscles. When you're under pressure, your body goes into that fight or flight mode, tensing your muscles to prepare for action. The problem is that in our modern world, we're not usually running from danger. We're sitting at desks, staring at screens, and carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders, literally. This chronic muscle tension can lead to headaches, back pain, neck pain, and even contribute to conditions like TMJ disorder. Stress can be absolutely exhausting. You know that feeling when you're constantly on edge, worrying about a million things at once? It's like running a marathon in your mind, and it takes a serious toll on your energy levels. When you're chronically stressed, your body is constantly pumping out those stress hormones, and over time, this can lead to adrenal fatigue. Adrenal fatigue is a condition where your adrenal glands, which are responsible for producing cortisol and other hormones, get worn out from being overworked. This can leave you feeling drained, fatigued, and completely wiped out, even after a full night's sleep. Stress and appetite have a complicated relationship. Some people find themselves stress eating, reaching for comfort foods high in sugar, fat, and salt to try to soothe their frazzled nerves. These foods might provide a temporary mood boost, But in the long run, they can actually make your stress worse and lead to weight gain and other health problems. On the other hand, some people experience a complete loss of appetite when they're stressed. Their stomach feels tied in knots, they have no interest in food, and they might even lose weight without trying. Neither extreme is good, and it's important to listen to your body and nourish it with healthy foods that will support your overall well-being. Have you ever noticed that when you're stressed, little things that wouldn't normally bother you suddenly seem like a huge deal? That's because stress can make you more irritable and reactive. When you're already on edge, it takes less to set you off. Remember those stress hormones we talked about? They can mess with your mood and make it harder to control your emotions. So, if you find yourself snapping at your loved ones, getting easily frustrated, or feeling more on edge than usual, it might be a sign that stress is getting the better of you. Trying to focus when you're stressed can feel like trying to study in the middle of a hurricane. It's like your brain is a million miles away, and you can't seem to concentrate on anything for more than a few seconds. Stress can seriously mess with your cognitive function, including your ability to focus, concentrate, and remember things. Remember cortisol? Well, it can interfere with the function of your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for executive function, decision-making, and working memory. Ever feel like your mind is a hamster wheel, with thoughts spinning around and around, never stopping? That's another fun side effect of stress. When you're stressed, your mind can go into overdrive, with worries, to-do lists, and worst-case scenarios playing on repeat. It's like your brain's way of trying to solve all your problems at once, but it often ends up making you feel more anxious and overwhelmed. These racing thoughts can make it hard to fall asleep, concentrate, or even just relax and enjoy the moment. It's like your mind is constantly stuck in fast forward, and you can't seem to hit the pause button. Did you ever walk into a room and forget why you were there? Or maybe you can't remember where you put your keys, even though you just had them? Don't worry, it happens to the best of us, especially when we're stressed. Stress can have a real impact on memory. When you're stressed, your brain is so focused on dealing with the perceived threat that it has a harder time encoding and retrieving information. It's like your short-term memory gets overloaded and things just don't stick as well. Stress and anxiety often go hand in hand. When you're stressed, your body releases those fight or flight hormones, which can trigger feelings of anxiety, worry, and fear. And the more anxious you feel, the more stressed you become. It's a vicious cycle. Anxiety can manifest in many ways, from physical symptoms like a racing heart, sweating, and shortness of breath, to emotional symptoms like worry, restlessness, and a sense of impending doom. If you're experiencing anxiety regularly, it's important to talk to your doctor to rule out any underlying medical conditions and get the support you need. Chronic stress can take a serious toll on your mental health, and in some cases, it can even contribute to depression. When you're under constant stress, your body's stress response system is stuck in overdrive, and this can lead to changes in your brain chemistry, including imbalances in neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which play a crucial role in mood regulation. Depression is a serious mental health condition that goes beyond feeling down or sad. It can affect every aspect of your life, from your energy levels and sleep to your relationships and work performance. One minute you're fine, the next you're ready to explode. Sound familiar? Stress can make you feel like you're on an emotional roller coaster, with your mood swinging wildly from one extreme to the other. Those pesky stress hormones are at it again. They can wreak havoc on your emotional stability, making you more irritable, reactive, and prone to mood swings. It's like your emotional regulation system is out of whack, and you're more susceptible to the ups and downs of life. When you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed, it's natural to want to withdraw from social situations and retreat into your own little bubble. Social interaction can feel draining when you're already running on empty, and you might find yourself avoiding social events, canceling plans, or just wanting to be alone with your thoughts, or maybe your cat. While a little bit of alone time can be restorative, chronic social isolation can actually make stress worse in the long run. Connecting with others, even if it's just for a quick chat or a virtual coffee date, can do wonders for your mood and help you feel more supported. Ever notice that you sweat more when you're nervous or stressed? Like your palms are clammy, your armpits are drenched, and you can practically feel the beads of sweat forming on your forehead? Yeah, stress sweat is a real thing, and it's not pretty. When you're stressed, your sympathetic nervous system kicks into gear, triggering your body's fight or flight response. This releases hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which, you guessed it, can stimulate your sweat glands. And to make matters worse, stress sweat often has a stronger odor than regular sweat because it's also mixed with hormones and fatty acids. I feel like your heart is racing a mile a minute when you're stressed. That's because stress can send your heart rate soaring. When you're under pressure, your body releases adrenaline, which increases your heart rate and blood pressure. This is your body's way of preparing you to fight or flee from danger. In the short term, these changes are usually harmless. But over time, chronic stress can put a strain on your cardiovascular system, increasing your risk of heart disease, stroke, and other serious health problems. So if you're constantly feeling like your heart is about to beat out of your chest, it's a sign that you need to find some healthy ways to manage your stress. Ever notice that when you're stressed, you might find yourself taking short, shallow breaths? Or maybe you feel like you can't take a deep breath no matter how hard you try? Stress can really mess with your breathing. When you're stressed, your body goes into that fight or flight mode, and your sympathetic nervous system kicks in. This can cause your breathing to become rapid and shallow as your body tries to get more oxygen to your muscles. In some cases, stress can even trigger panic attacks, which are characterized by intense feelings of fear and anxiety, along with physical symptoms like a racing heart, dizziness, and shortness of breath. Stress can really put a damper on your love life. When you're constantly worried, anxious, or feeling overwhelmed, it's hard to get in the mood. Stress hormones like cortisol can interfere with your body's production of sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen, which can lead to a decrease in libido or sexual desire. And it's not just about the physical changes. Stress can also impact your mental and emotional state, making it harder to relax, connect with your partner, and enjoy intimacy. When stress becomes overwhelming, it's natural to look for ways to cope. But unfortunately, some coping mechanisms can do more harm than good. Many people turn to alcohol, drugs, or other substances to numb the pain, escape their problems, or self-medicate their stress. While these substances might provide temporary relief, they can actually make stress worse in the long run and lead to addiction, health problems, and a whole host of other issues. If you're struggling with substance use, it's important to reach out for help. There are many resources available to support you on your journey to recovery. So there you have it, 20 signs that you might be experiencing too much stress. Remember, stress is a normal part of life, but it's important to recognize the signs and take steps to manage it before it takes a toll on your health and well-being. From headaches and sleep problems to digestive issues and mood swings, stress can manifest in so many ways. If you're experiencing any of the symptoms we talked about, don't ignore them. Talk to your doctor to rule out any underlying medical conditions and get the support you need. And remember, you're not alone in this. There are so many resources available to help you manage stress, from therapy and meditation to exercise and spending time in nature. Take care of yourselves, my friends.